one more time. So, Mr. Becker, you are a professional engineer. I consider you a fellow scientist in this regard. And I happen to have some level of familiarity with science. You designed an experiment based on where you wanted to get the conclusion. The experiment you had an internal control, which is the history of crashes at these intersections before implementation of a less stringent device. And the external controls, which is comparing them to other intersections, in my humble opinion, are irrelevant because the number of trips are much different. If you agree with me that the internal control, being the history of crashes at these intersections before you started your experiment, is valid, your experiment has failed, essentially. I'm not saying your experiment failed like it's anything bad, but does not support the hypothesis, which is that a less stringent device would support the safety. We know that our number one priority is safety. I ask you why we didn't engage with the community around that in a, something that is tangible in terms of a town hall meeting or something resembling Highway 69. This is not Highway 69, but it is still something that we needed to talk to the residents and hear them out in a collective manner.
Bruce Weicker, Supervisory Civil Engineer. We did send out several letters. I believe we're trying to target what our normal distance is from an improvement. I believe it was 500 foot in any direction. And so we did send out letters informing people. I had my contact information in. I know Brian Shields took many emails. During the kind of the peak of the pandemic, we weren't really engaging in any public meetings, but we did feel like we gave adequate opportunity for people to engage. Kind of going back to your comment of, do we take the input of people and their opinions? We do take that in consideration. There are several people that have always called me on the phone and have said, it's very difficult to get out of my neighborhood and I would like a traffic signal at this particular street. And my question back to them is, the people just up the street from you also want a traffic signal at their intersection. Are you willing to drive through that one on your way to work just for convenience of you getting out of your neighborhood? Because everybody wants a signal to get out of their neighborhood. People do try to, do tend to understand that. It's like, yeah, if everybody would get a signal wherever they thought they needed one, we would have a signal at just about every intersection. So there are some.
Right. So, but no Zoom meeting, right? There was never we spoke. We had an open house about it ever with the community. Are you aware of the 293 signed petition?
Excuse me?
Have you seen the petition with 293 signatures?
Point of order, Mayor, point of order. He's challenging our staff on something that is not a staff issue.
I'm asking a question.
Not appropriate.
I'm just asking, have you seen the petition?
Bruce Weicker, Supervisor Civil Engineer. I have not seen.
We need to answer the point of order before we proceed.
And I agree, we need to move forward on.
If we are going to suffocate the conversation like this, then we might as well not have a conversation.
We aren't suffocating the conversation.
We are. I'm asking Mr. Wacker, with all due respect, if he has seen the petition, and I'm waiting for the gentleman's answer. So, and one last question. I believe the answer was no. Mr. Wacker, what sort of level of communication we had with the school there to understand their concerns?
Bruce Weicker, Supervisory Civil Engineer. I know Brian Shields tried to reach out to them today. I used to actually be a member of that particular church, and when the school was going on, and what we did find at that particular time was that in that particular situation, most of the parents actually did not live in close proximity where their children did walk to school. Most of them at that time were driving to school.
Thank you. I have the email from the superintendent there, which says we have a number of students crossing and we have concerns. I wish we had reached them much earlier than today. I appreciate your cooperation. Thank you for answering.